Hello, fellow food lovers. Today I will be making Chinese Ching Po Leung pork bone soup, also known as six flavor pork bone soup. You will need 1 pound of pork bones, 6 chicken feet, 6 dried scallop, salt, and 1 package of Ching Po Leung dry soup mix. Ching Po Leung dry soup mix has 6 dried vegetables, seeds, and fruit. They include dried Chinese yam, Chinese pearl barley, dried lotus seeds, foxnut barley, polygonatum, and dried longan fruit. Okay, so I've got a pound of pork bones and 6 chicken feet. You can get this at an Asian grocery store. So sometimes the feet come declawed, but most times they don't. So they'll have like little claws on the tip of each toe. So you need to get scissors and cut those tips off so that you don't have those nails in the soup. Okay, so I give the bones a quick rinse and then I throw them into the pressure cooker. Okay, yeah, so there's the chicken feet, and you can see they have little claws on them. You have to remove those. A lot of people will eat the chicken feet after they're being cooked in the soup. So if you have people in your household that like to eat the chicken feet, you should cut the tips off so the nails get removed. Otherwise, they're a little more difficult to eat. Okay, so I clip the nails off all the chicken feet. I gave the chicken feet a rinse and then go into the pressure cooker. So I'm going to fill that pressure cooker with water just to cover the meat, the pork bones and the chicken feet. And we're going to do a quick blanch. So we're going to bring that water to a boil. I'm going to boil for 5-10 minutes. And then we're going to drain that water and we're going to put fresh water in just to have a more clear soup. Okay, so we have a bit of water in there. Okay, so we're gonna turn the stove on to high heat, and we're gonna put the pressure cooker on the element, and we're not gonna put the lid on it. We're just gonna blanch it with the lid off. Okay, so this is the dried package for Ching Po Leung soup, but you can get it in Chinese grocery stores. If you can't find it, just ask someone that works at that grocery store if they have the Ching Po Leung soup mix, and then they'll show you where to get it. So as you can see, there's 6 different ingredients. There's a dried fruit, longan, some nuts, fox nuts, and lotus seed, and Chinese pearl barley, and then there's Chinese yam and polygonatum, which is actually, I believe, the root of the Solomon seal plant. Okay, we put all that into a bowl, and we're going to give it a quick wash. You want to wash all the, dirt and dust that might be on the dried soup mix before you put it into the pot. One rinse should be sufficient. You can do 2 rinses if you want. And we've also got 6 dried scallops, also called conpoy. So we're going to toss it into the soup with dried. Okay, so we boiled the bones and the chicken feet for about 10 minutes. So we're going to dump that water because it's got a bunch of gunk in it that we don't want. The Chinese will blanch chicken and pork bones, as well as chicken feet, before making the soup, because it actually gets rid of all the impurities and actually makes it a clearer soup if you do it that way. Okay, so we're going to put about 4 liters of water into the pot, and we're going to use a pressure cooker to make the soup stock. So yeah, 4 liters of water. So obviously I use cold water from the tap when I am making soup. Okay, so yeah, 4 liters of water. I'm going to put it on the stove. I'm going to turn the heat on to high. And then when the water comes to a boil, then I'll put the lid on and we'll pressure cook it. But we're going to actually add some seasoning first. We're going to add about 1 tablespoon of salt to season the soup stock. Okay, so the water's come to a boil, so we're going to put the lid on there. And then when it pressurizes and there's steam in there, we're going to turn the heat down to between medium and low, halfway between medium and low. And we're going to let that boil and pressure cook for about an hour. So you can see there's a really nice looking soup stock now from the pork bones and the chicken feet. Okay, so we're going to add the dried soup mix, the Ching Po Leung soup mix, and the 6 dried scallops. A lot of times when you make Cantonese soup, like a long fire soup, or an old fire soup, they'll add some sort of seafood there to give it an extra dimension of taste. So it could be dried scallops, maybe dried oysters, dried squid. Okay, so I'm going to give the soup mix a stir. I'm going to wait for it to come to a boil, and then I'm going to put the lid on when it comes to a boil, and then I'm going to let it pressurize. And then we're going to cook it for another half hour. So when I make the soup stock with the bones, it'll be an hour of just making the soup stock. And then when I add the dry soup ingredients and the dried scallops, then we're going to pressure cook it for another half hour. So yeah, wait for it to come to a boil, then put the lid on. Okay, so half an hour has come by. So I depressurized it, and this is the soup that's done. There you go. I always use a pressure cooker to make old fire soups that are supposed to simmer for a long, long time, because I don't have the patience. But in the olden days, these soups can be on the stove for hours, 2-3 hours to make the soup. But if you use a pressure cooker, you can cut that down in half. So it can be done in an hour to an hour and a half. So if you got really meaty bones, those are great to eat. And the chicken feet are totally cooked as well. They're nice and soft, and you can eat the soup. You can eat the chicken feet as well. Okay, there you have it. That's Ching Po Leung herbal soup. It's got 6 different dried ingredients, seeds, dried vegetables, dried fruit, and it also has pork bones and chicken feet in it. This is a great soup to have with a dinner. Okay, bon appetit.